My in-laws made me sign a prenup because they think that I am a gold digger and their son will be a millionaire, but they found out that it is their biggest mistake. I married my soon-to-be ex-husband in 2018. My in-laws never liked me and made it clear. STBX insisted they're just putting up a tough exterior and will grow to love me. To show how evil they are, I joined them for dinner and brought a cake I'd made. When I stepped into the kitchen and offered the cake to his mother as a thank you for inviting me, she took the plate over to the garbage bin, dumped it in, and handed me the plate back. When I told my husband what she did, he confronted her, and all of a sudden, the crocodile tears started. She claimed she grabbed the plate but didn't get a good grip. I let go too quickly, and it fell to the floor, so, of course, it had to be thrown away. My sister-in-law confirmed that was what happened. My STBX owned his own business, and they called me a gold digger behind his back. Of course they insisted on a prenup, which I didn't care about because I never thought my marriage would end and it would appease them and allow them to finally treat me kindly. Nope. His business failed once the virus hit. We went through his savings and my own, trying to keep it afloat. I refused to go into debt to keep it going, so he closed it down. In 2022, he was suffering from really bad depression because he lost his business and couldn't find new work. He suggested we move to his hometown, closer to his family, so he had a larger support network. Against my best judgment, we did. He wanted to work only part-time while trying to restart his business, so I became the breadwinner. And as with most wives, I became responsible for buying gifts. Stupid old me thought buying them thoughtful, expensive gifts would finally make them see I wanted to be accepted by them. Gifts to us were a couple's gift, but clearly for my STBX only. Every holiday was spent with them, monthly dinners with the whole family. After a year, I realized everyone would go quiet if I tried to talk or join a conversation, so I just stopped talking when I visited. In early December, they finalized plans for Christmas. A few days later, my STBX said his family decided they didn't want me to join them for Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas lunch because I ruined the family vibe. I replied, fine, we'll do our own thing instead. My STBX sheepishly looked away and said he was still going to go. I was livid and so disappointed in him. That was the moment I knew my marriage was over. So I returned the presents I had bought for his family. In their place, I got one pair of novelty business socks for father-in-law, a supermarket brand bottle of shampoo for mother-in-law, and the nastiest perfume I could find at the dollar store for sister-in-law. The most expensive gift was a large rawhide bone for brother-in-law and his wife's chihuahua. I saved about $600 to put on a deposit for a new apartment. My husband came home from Christmas lunch telling me I humiliated him and embarrassed him in front of his family. I asked him why he thought I'd buy nice gifts for people who don't like me and don't want me around. I served divorce papers last week. Remember how he was supposed to be a millionaire by now, so we had that prenup? STBX is not eligible for any of my savings or alimony. He doesn't have money for rent and auto insurance. It's not my problem anymore. Some of my friends and family were on my side and proud that I went out in a blaze of glory. Update 9 days later. First, for those who asked how the deposit on my new apartment was only the $600 I saved on the gifts, it certainly wasn't. I had to dip into savings, but that $600 helped. My STBX didn't bother reaching out to me after I left until he was served the divorce papers and my lawyer made it clear we were exercising the prenup. Then it was loving voicemails and texts I never picked up from him and his family for a few days trying to convince me to come back, which eventually turned to threatening and cruel voicemails and texts when it was clear I wasn't budging. My lawyer suggested I don't block them, so we have evidence of harassment if needed. Basically, give them the rope to hang themselves with. But then, last night, I got call after call from my STBX. Stupidly, I picked it up, thinking there was some kind of emergency or something. I barely got hello when he said, the rent is a week late. I told him that was strange because I paid my landlord 6 days ago. He paused, sighed dramatically, and replied, no, the rent for here. I reminded him I don't live there and he shouldn't expect rent. His parents both texted me that they will sue me to pay the remainder of the lease. I'm not worried about having an eviction on my record since the apartment is in his parents' names. When we first announced we were moving to his hometown, they rented an apartment for us right away so we could move right in. They've been renewing the lease each year. We had to pay his parents, and then they wrote a check to the landlord, who had no idea who STBX and I were, let alone that we lived there. Red flag, I know. I'm glad I had a few weeks to prepare for my leave since they'd probably use the fact that it's their apartment to kick me out immediately. Divorce is probably going to be a bumpy ride with this man-child and his psycho parents. Lawyers are confident they have no leg to stand on. I haven't signed any type of lease and utilities are in their name, too, because they were afraid of having too many names connected to the apartment and the landlord finding out. So they are on the hook for everything that doesn't get paid. But, hey, that was their choice and their scheming. Fafo.